Most fans think Rush versus Pink Floyd comes down to musicianship. And if that is the standard, Rush has a terrifying case. But what if that is the wrong way to judge this matchup? Because Pink Floyd is not really trying to beat Rush at precision. They are fighting with atmosphere, concept, production, and emotional scale. So the real question is not who played harder, it is who built the more complete rock universe. Round 1, the standard. Rush versus Pink Floyd is really precision against atmosphere. One side says rock should challenge your hands and brain. The other says rock should swallow your entire imagination. The standard today is not who has more loyal fans. It is who built the more complete rock universe, like we said. Musicianship, songwriting, live power, innovation, influence, and emotional legacy. And the first edge is dangerous because Rush starts with weapons. But Pink Floyd may be fighting with something bigger than technique. Round 2, musicianship. Round 2 is musicianship and Rush comes out swinging immediately. Geddy Lee sang, played bass, and often handled keyboards live. Alex Lifeson filled enormous space without needing a second guitarist. Neil Peart made drum parts feel composed, not merely performed. Musicians noticed the odd meters, tight transitions, and impossible stamina. Pink Floyd's musicianship works differently, and that is the trap. David Gilmour rarely needed many notes to dominate a song. Richard Wright's keyboards gave Floyd their haunted emotional architecture. Nick Mason's drumming served the atmosphere instead of crowding it. Roger Waters turned musical space into tension, character, and accusation. But, judged by instrumental command, Rush takes this round. Round 3, guitar voice. Now, zoom in on the guitars because this matchup gets personal. Lifeson had to make one guitar feel like 3 instruments. He built chords, riffs, textures, and solos around constant motion. That is what casual listeners sometimes miss about Rush. Lifeson was not just playing parts, he was solving space. But Gilmour's guitar voice wins with fewer moving pieces. His bends, tone, and phrasing can make one note feel pretty inevitable. That is a different kind of mastery, emotional compression. Lifeson wins architecture, Gilmour wins immediate emotional identity. By this debate's standard, guitar voice goes narrowly to Pink Floyd. Round 4, songwriting. Now the debate changes because songs are not athletic events. Rush wrote like philosophers trapped inside a rock machine. Their best songs turn ambition, alienation, freedom, and pressure into motion. They could make complexity feel heroic instead of academic. But Pink Floyd wrote emotional architecture you could live inside. Their songs often unfold like dreams, arguments, and breakdowns at once. Casual fans remember the hooks, but the real power is pacing. Floyd knew when to leave silence, suspense, and dread untouched. Rush wrote brilliant songs, Pink Floyd built unforgettable emotional journeys. Songwriting goes to Pink Floyd and the pressure shifts fast. Round 5, lyrics and ideas. Songwriting tells us how songs move, lyrics tell us what haunts them. Rush's lyrical power begins with Neil Peart's restless curiosity. He wrote about freedom, ambition, pressure, reason, and self-definition. That gave Rush a rare intellectual electricity. The songs made thinking feel dramatic, not detached. Pink Floyd's ideas, they cut in a different direction. Their world is full of time, madness, systems, ego, and isolation. Roger Waters often turned private anxiety into public accusation. Gilmour and Wright gave those accusations beauty, ache, and release. Rush inspires the outsider, Pink Floyd surrounds the wounded human being. For lyrical universality, this round goes to Pink Floyd, although it's pretty darn close. Round 6, innovation and sound. Innovation is where both bands stop sounding like normal rock acts. Rush pushed progressive rock into tighter, sharper, more modern shapes. They made technical rock feel muscular instead of fragile. And they evolved through hard rock, prog, synthesizers, and leaner arrangements. That evolution matters because survival requires more than virtuosity. But Pink Floyd helped expand what rock production could mean. Tape effects, sound design, concept album flow, and studio atmosphere became weapons. They did not just record songs, they staged psychological environments. Rush innovated inside rock's machinery, Floyd expanded rock's actual room. Sound innovation goes to Pink Floyd because the canvas got bigger. Round 7, concept albums. Now we reach the category that may decide the whole debate. Rush could absolutely think in long-form musical architecture. Their epics proved progressive rock could be ambitious, strange, and disciplined. They built worlds for listeners who want the challenge and discovery. But Pink Floyd made the concept album feel almost cinematic. Their albums did not just collect songs, they created environments. The sequencing, reprises, sound effects, and mood pulled everything together. That is where Floyd's world building becomes more than atmosphere. It becomes structure, story, production, and emotional architecture. Rush made brilliant progressive journeys, Pink Floyd made album-sized worlds. Concept albums go to Pink Floyd, and the final verdict, it's starting to get clearer. Round 8, live performance. Now Rush gets another opening because live execution changes everything. Rush's live reputation rests on doing the difficult thing nightly. 3 musicians had to recreate dense arrangements with almost no safety net. That creates a specific thrill, precision under pressure. Pink Floyd's live power just wasn't the same kind of risk. Their concerts became immersive rituals of sound, light, and scale. You didn't just watch Floyd, you pretty much entered the production. But this round is live execution, not theatrical environment. For performance difficulty and consistency, Rush claws a point back. Round 9, band identity. Band identity is kind of complicated because neither group fits the cliche. Geddy Lee's voice became a dividing line and a signature. His high register made Rush sound urgent, strange, and unmistakable. Rush's identity was the trio itself, 3 specialists in total conversation. Pink Floyd's identity was more fractured, and sometimes more fascinating. Waters brought concept and confrontation, Gilmour brought beauty and release, Wright supplied the ghost, Mason kept the dream moving. Rush feels like unity, Pink Floyd feels like creative tension made audible. For band identity, Pink Floyd wins because the tension became mythology. Catalog depth is where Rush fans make their strongest counterattack. Rush produced a long body of work with remarkable internal discipline. Even when the sound changed, the work ethic stayed visible. That matters because legacy is not built from peaks alone. Pink Floyd's peak period, though, is historically massive. Their classic run shaped how millions imagined the album as an experience. The trade-off is simple. Rush has more sustained craft. Pink Floyd has fewer peaks, but the tallest ones reshape the skyline. This round goes to Rush for consistency and usable catalog depth. Round 11, cultural impact and influence. Influence must be split apart, or the debate gets sloppy. Technically, Rush influenced generations of bassists, drummers, and prog musicians. Their direct influence is strongest among players who study the details. That is not small. It is a serious kind of immortality. But Pink Floyd's cultural influence spread beyond musicianship. They influenced production, album structure, visual concerts, and emotional ambition. I mean, even people who cannot name the chords understand the mood. That is broader influence, less technical, but more culturally radioactive. This round goes to Pink Floyd because their shadow simply covers more territory. Round 12, the final verdict. So, the verdict comes down to what greater means. If the standard is technical excellence, Rush has a really powerful case. They were tighter, more visibly demanding, and astonishingly self-contained. A trio making that much sound is still almost absurd. But our standard is the more complete rock universe. And that right there gives Pink Floyd the pretty much decisive advantage. They combine songs, sound, concept, atmosphere, visuals, and cultural reach. Rush wins the musician's argument more often than the average person will admit. But Pink Floyd definitely wins the world-building argument more completely. So, final verdict, Pink Floyd beats Rush by the standard of total rock universe. Not because Rush is smaller, but because Floyd's atmosphere just travels farther. Rush remains the sacred blueprint for intelligent, high-skill progressive rock. Pink Floyd remains proof that rock can become an entire psychological landscape. Now we can bring the real argument to the comments. Or the, not just real, but another side of the argument. So if musicianship is the standard, does Rush actually win this debate? Or does Pink Floyd's world building matter more than technical difficulty?